Welcome to Redzone in the UK. I am Deuce, and today we're going to talk about we're going to pregame the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to talk a little bit about that game, but really all we need to do is play very, very hard and get Terry 55 yards. Right, that's what I'm watching this game for. I need Terry to get 55 yards so he can go over 1,000 yards for the season. Let's get Curtis Samuel 3 yards so he can go over 600 for the season. That's what I'm looking forward to. Sam Howell needs, I think, 265 to get to 4,000. That'd be a good story for him. But me and Scouts is going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. We're also going to talk about Ron Rivera's comments Friday about him being a game manager compared to a coach. He's only coached 5 games, Scouts. That we're going to definitely get into that, and a little bit more about what this week and this season is going to look. Is going to look forward to come tomorrow morning. One more day, Scouts. One more day. Welcome. It is 6 Eastern in the United States. But hey, we're in the UK. Oi!
Wake up. Wake up. Get up. Get up. It's... Wake up. Wake up. Get up. Get up. It's... Wake up. Wake up.
Welcome to Red Zone in the UK. I am Deuce. We got Andy, aka Scouts. How you doing this morning, buddy?
Yeah, I'm okay, mate. I'm okay. Voice still a little bit dodgy, but I'm okay, mate. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It was a little rough end of the year. I mean, shoot, 2024 in the real world is we need to reset. Like we already need an update for 2024. Like we already need an update because it's been crazy. It's been wild. Um, but yeah, we're here. I'm glad to be back. Third pod back.
Good man.
Since probably the beginning of December. You've been out the past few weeks, but we're back and here we are. We come back to the comments that Ron Rivera has only been able to coach for 5 games out of the last 4 years. So here we are. So when you heard that, what was your first thought?
My original thought was, well, you asked for it. I mean, he wanted to be the overall guy in charge of everything, And you're thinking, well, you moan about not being able to actually coach, but the thing is, you wanted to be the GM, you wanted to do all the extra bits and all the rest of it, at the start. So you can't really complain about that. And then the thing is, it really frustrates me because it's kind of like, well, why on earth would you take on this role if you know that you couldn't be able to coach, if you actually wanted to be purely the coach? So it doesn't really make sense to me, really. I think he's just pissed off and wants to leave personally. But yeah, I mean, I don't get it, man. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, mine is saying I was really surprised. I was like, first of all, you still on 5, right? So you don't have a good record there when you've been coaching. But yeah, you wanted this. Like you came in and you wanted full control. Now we're going to talk about a lot about this next week. Just for all of you that to know, Redzone In the Lab is going to be running the show every day, usually around 5 o'clock, just breaking down the season, talking about if there are any firings, right? Right. I mean, we don't know for sure, right? If there are any hirings, anybody, of course, these lists is going to start coming out. So we're going to talk about a lot about the direction of this team next year. And one of the days is going to be Red Zone in the UK. It's going to be us. It's going to be some other boys, maybe a guy, you never know, from over in the UK. We're still working on the cast. We're going to talk about this season and what to look forward to. And one of the discussions we're going to have, Andy, is about the whole culture thing, right? And I think like it's very difficult for fans to separate business from on field because Ron was so bad on field. It's kind of blinding the fact of what he was able to do in that building on the business side, right? Just so that's some of the things that we're going to talk about to get different views. But Your main thing was to coach, right? To manage the team. That's what you were supposed to do, manage the team. And I know a lot of things happened that you didn't know and you wasn't expecting coming into this team, but you knew it was going to take a whole lot of work. So when you know that you bring in experienced people, okay, you bring in Jack Del Rio, great, good. He's been in the game. He understands. He's somebody that can hold his own, right? But then you bring in, you have Kevin O'Connell already here, that's already established, that's established with the quarterback. So a lot of people say Dwayne was getting better with him. But you let him go and you bring in a brand new offensive coordinator. You know, uh, so those type of moves kind of contradicts the statements that you've recently made, right? Because now you're looking at it hindsight. You made a mistake. Like, come out and say that. Like, I made a mistake with some of my hires. Then, we'll respect that a little more, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think the problem is with Ron is that you can always say he hires his own staff as in like because he trusts the guys that he's hiring, right? So there's that. But really it's nepotism at its highest. You know, Kevin O'Connell wasn't his guy. So that's the reason why he got rid of him. It wasn't because he wasn't a good coach. Obviously, look at him at no head coach now. He's doing really well for himself. So it isn't about like the quality of coach. It's all about the kind of he didn't know him that well and didn't really trust him. Even though, as you said, Dwayne was getting better under his tutor, under his teaching, his tutoring. Um, so I mean, it is Ron's it's Ron's fault, really. I mean, of where he is and how it's gone because he's got the final say on everything that went on. As soon as he showed up, I just think his remit when he first was hired wasn't to actually win. That wasn't his remit at all. He was there just to fight the fires for the transition for now for when we get the new owner and for next season. That's what I think. I don't think like obviously as fans we want him to win, even though he's dealing with all the shit from previous ownership. And that's all he's ever, and that's why he's mentioned about the kind of things with I've been a manager, but no, rather than actually a coach. It's because he's been managing all the crap outside of the football game. So, but he knew what he was getting himself into for that. He knew what he was getting himself into. He knew he was going to be dealing with that kind of crap all the time, even though it wasn't his fault and there wasn't nothing to do with him at the start. And I think I'd say I just genuinely believe that his dream wasn't to win, but as fans, we want to win, so we're always trying to compare him to winning teams and winning coaches and everything else. And obviously he's failed in that respect. But again, deep down, I don't think he was there to actually win his match, win his games, really. I think the first year was a because he got the whole we'll see. It was kind of the players just rallied around him and actually they had a bad division and it just all the circumstances on the football side kind of got better quite quickly. Obviously for him, obviously not, but on the football side it was. And I think that kind of elevated our expectations as fans a lot faster than it should have. And now, obviously, 4 years in, you're thinking, well, wait a minute, is this team better than it was when he first joined? And I don't think it is. When you look at the team, player for player, it's not as good as it was when he first started. Even though it was a 3-13 team when he showed up, I still think player for player, there's a better team then than it is now.
Yeah, we did that a few weeks ago on OTH, and we kind of went through the roster when he first got here, not the roster that like game one of that season, but like roster when he came here. And this roster is better, but it's not better by a lot. Like it's not like you can argue both sides. Like it took us we had to argue pretty much every position that one position was just this much better. And that's bad. I mean, if everything plays out how, for us to get the number 2 pick, he came with the number 2 and he's leaving with the number 2. Right. So it's
Yeah,
like,
doing us a favor. Yeah.
yeah, it's like a whole failure type of thing. But but you made a point that I never thought about just coming here to clean it up. what if coaching wasn't his number one priority? You know, right? Maybe coming here to make sure the transition of Dan happens. And we talk about that a lot. I know a guy, Duran, that be in the spaces, who has some sources and connections and different stuff like that about the whole hiring of Jason Wright. And a lot of people say that the NFL hired Jason Wright. I believe that because that's not a Ron Rivera hire. Like that's not the type of person that he hires. He hires people that he knows, he has some type of relationship with, or a family relationship with, something like those are the types of hires he makes, and that adds up with Jason Wright. So, and Jason Wright came after Ron, and Ron was in that process of hiring Jason Wright. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense, and I think you kind of. Oh man, I got some topics for next week, but that's going to be one of them. Now, I think I need to give you a couple of dollars for that one because I'm definitely going to use it. But that's a great point, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, I just what I think. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's just the way it's been for us. You know, we've always had these are the cards you've been dealt with. How do you manage to win the hand? You know, and we've always had to kind of fight fires on the field, off the field, and everywhere else in between. So it's yeah, man. It's I just think thank you, Ron, for your help over the past 4 years. But man, it's time for the new era to start now, and I can't wait for it. To be fair.
All right, before we get to the new era, let's talk about Sam a little bit.
Okay.
When you look at this season, it's really kind of odd, right? Because it should have been flipped. Like the Sam we've been seeing the last few weeks should have been the Sam we saw the beginning of the year. And then he got better, but he was better and then he got worse. Like, and we could talk about defenses and switching up and schemes and different stuff like that. But I don't remember a quarterback having this type of season. Either they're kind of unstable all the way through, or they get better as the season go on. But this guy came out on fire, and it's not like the competition was that much better or that much worse early in the year. It's kind of the same in a sense. But we did play better teams down the stretch, but we did have a stretch of some against some opponents that wasn't no layovers. They played pretty well. But you ever remember seeing or hearing anything like a season like this from a? I mean, he wasn't a rookie, but that's just
Yeah, I mean, I'm always going to treat him like a rookie for this year. I really was because he had one game last year, and then he's got a brand new offensive coordinator this year. So I mean, so it was all kind of new for him. So I was going to class him as a rook. Yes, I mean, not really. I'm not really seeing a quarterback do what happened to Sam. But the biggest thing for me was about kind of 6-8 weeks ago, something like that, when the season was virtually already over for us anyway at that point, especially after the Chicago game. On one of my pods, they were saying, well, what do you want to see going forward? Because that's what we always talk about, isn't it? What do you want to see next week, next game, blah, blah, blah. And I just said, I just don't want Sam to end up seeing ghosts. I don't want to end up him losing all his confidence because this whole line is trash. And it is. I don't care what anyone says about Sam holding on to the ball a lot. He does, yeah. But again, the thing is, when you lose confidence, you start second guessing yourself. You take long on your hands, and then you get hammered. And that's the problem. That's what's been happening with him. And that's why I think he's got worse over this time. He's lost his confidence. And now he's like, he doesn't really want to be in the game. You can tell you the last couple of games, he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be on the field. And that wasn't Sam Howell when he first walked on the field, as you say, the first week of the season when we were there. There was it was a different body language to him as well. You can just see it. His head's dropped even before he really starts. And I don't think EB's helping him either, to be honest. I think EB's trying to make him look worse than he actually is. And you think, oh, what do you mean by that? Well, look at Brissett, for example. Brissett came in 2 games and actually produced, some especially the Jets game. He produced some really, really good play. Now, and the offensive line looked a little better, and all the rest of it. Now, again, there's always situations with that. We're trailing games. You won't put as much pressure on Brissett, etc. As in the defenses. But it looked like that EB was playing the plays that would make a set successful. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Whereas with Howell, he was doing things like 7-step drops, 5-step drops, or trying to play shotgun on 3rd and 1, stuff like that. It's like, what are you doing? And I just think that a lot of the play calling hasn't helped him. And now I do genuinely believe that Howell is actually seeing ghosts, and that's the reason why he's gone so bad. I think we've ruined him. I really do.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for him. He's a smart kid. He bounces back pretty fast.
But the last 4 weeks, mate, he has not bounced back at all. To be fair,
I mean, as far as like confidence, right? I mean,
his play's dictating his confidence. You can tell he's not at it.
yeah, because he's more hesitant and different things like that. Especially it's been rough. I mean, he's been benched twice, but I think a reset off season. I don't think, like, a lot of people think he might be damaged for life. I don't think
Well,
that.
I always get worried about the David Carr kind of comparison as such. He was the new stud coming out of college, blah blah blah. And after the first season, he was done because he was genuinely seeing ghosts all the time. He got sacked. He's got sacked just as many times as Sam Howell has this season, if not even slightly. It's very close on the totals at this moment between the two. And if this thing,
but the only thing about that Texans team is they had no success that year. Like they had nothing to go back on and say, you know what, let's just look at these specific games.
What real success has Sam had, really? I mean, it's good games we've lost.
Yeah, but it's still success though, like for the quarterback. Like I don't grade wins, losses. Like I don't think that's a quarterback stat. A quarterback can play well.
Team win, team loss.
He could be he could actually be the best quarterback or the best player in the field, and their team could still still lose. That's
right.
confidence. But moving forward, like I still think he gets a good coaching staff, good quarterback room. I still think he can be a serviceable quarterback. I mean, he's better than Taylor Heineke. I mean, he's making $10 million a year because of his experience and his erratic play. Like, do we really think that he won all those games that we won? This past couple of years, no. But he's a quarterback. And he's very serviceable. And as we've seen this year, how many QB1s went down, that backup quarterback means a whole lot more. That's why I think, we might have 5 quarterbacks than the first 45 picks because of the fact that a lot of these guys are getting older and because of the injuries, QB2 has become just that much important. But yeah, I think he still can be a good quarterback in this league. I mean, he's QB2, QB3, however you want to look at it, but I've seen much worse.
Oh yeah,
in the league 10, 15 years.
I was always in the Sam Howell kind of fan club as such, even from the start, because I know the talent he's got. You've seen it in college, you've seen what he can do. And he did it over a prolonged period. It wasn't just kind of, one season wonder, the quarterbacks that you can think of in college that played one great season, come to the NFL and they got awful, So, I mean, he's got the skill set. I believe he does. He's got a good arm. I just, he's mobile. He can take a hit. At the end of the day, he's going to be the first guy, since Kirk Cousins to do a full season for us without being injured. So, so he's durable, and especially all the sacks he takes as well. And he does run into sacks as well at times. But I think that if you get a brilliant quarterback coach coming in, we might be able to boost up his confidence again. I think for him it's his confidence. I really do. I don't think it's his skill set. I really don't. I think if you can get his confidence back to where it was when he first came into the league, I think he can do a good job. I mean, would he be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL? Not from what I can see, no. But could he be serviceable, like you mentioned? Could he be 20th, something like that? Yeah, probably. But again, being where we're at now, I mean, I think if we were kind of picking 18th, 16th like last year, I don't think we were going quarterback.
I think you still got to trade up at that point because
I don't think we would have went for it. I don't think we would have traded up. I think we would have just
yeah,
left.
probably not. Probably not. It depends who you get in here. You might get another year with him.
Unfortunately, we're going to be going quarterback now that was so high up in the draft this year. It's virtual no brainer. Unfortunately,
I'll be real surprised if he's QB1 after the draft. But it depends on the staff, the OC. A lot of people, you got a relationship with Ben Johnson, and you got these arrogant play callers, right? That just believe that they can make trash into gold. Right? Like
polish
right. Like I can do this, right? I can do this. Just watch and see. I can make this guy great, or what the other guy couldn't do. So that's something to look forward to. But like as far as Sam, the NFL players, NFL career, I think he'll still have a.
Oh yeah, I don't think he's going to be out the league.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't think he's going to be out the league. I think he's going to get another contract as well.
I mean, look at Carson Wentz and what we saw.
I mean,
he's starting the game today, right?
I mean, this guy's been awful since 2017. You know what I mean? So, and he's still got a job, and he's still in shed loads of money off different teams.
Yep. And he's starting today. He's starting to quarterback today.
He's starting today, isn't he? Because is it Stafford out? Is that what it is?
Yeah, they were just resting him.
Oh, resting him. Right. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, man. I mean, it's if you got the skill set and you got just enough about you, you can keep it in the NFL for a long time. As you mentioned, the QB2 position now has actually become a very important position because of all injuries. And I think it's quite weird, really, considering that the defense has been, kind of punished for being too violent,
right?
Because of injuries to quarterbacks. But then, really, quarterbacks are still getting hurt anyway. So I prefer us to go back to the old school defense, really, where defense can actually win you championships. I mean, nowadays defense, you've got to play it perfect every single time, otherwise it's a flag, and it's just, it's becoming, the non-fun league. You know what I mean?
Yeah. NFL hierarchy. We're gonna talk about this next week too, but for me, I rather have president of football operations. I don't know if they call it vice president now because Jason is a president. But see, I think Jason is solely on the business side. He's president of the business, team president, but he's still team president of the football. So, and what's Ron? Ron is team president on the football. So I think they're both team presidents or vice president. I don't know, however it works. But I want a president, either president, vice president, however it is on the football side. But I don't want him I want him and the owner to have a good relationship, but I don't want them to have I go to his child's plays and
you don't want to be like too friendly.
I don't want them to be too friendly, right? I don't want them to have so much of a relationship off the field because I want the owner to be able to look back and say, hey, look, you're not doing a good job. Like he'll have a longer leash than the GM and the coach. Yes, that's what you look for, but I don't need it lingering and be in another Bruce Allen situation. You know what I mean? When they all buddy, all these secrets between each other. So, and then I want the GM and then the head coach. That's how I like our front office to be built. And I don't need the vice president to have a relationship with the GM, if that matters. Like I don't need him to know him and bring them from somewhere with him, nothing like that. Like keep it real business. You know what I'm saying? That's the same with the GM to the coach too. You know what I'm saying? I want them to have a strong business relationship. But as far as personal, I don't want that relationship to be, conflicting on business. I want the GM to be able to say, hey, well, you're not doing your job, or like this player is better for the team. Something like because the scouts telling. I want that to be the relationship, a very honest relationship. But when it comes to the head coach and who he chooses, you want people you're familiar with that you can trust that understands your scheme, this, and that. You also want them to be good players. And this time, Andy, I want to know about the positional coaches and the assistant positional coaches. Because now we're coming to find out this year how bad and how inexperienced those positions were, which contributed to the undevelopment of our players? How do you want your hierarchy to play out?
I agree. I mean, for me, it's always the most important thing for Josh Harris this offseason is to hire the GM. Personally, I think the GM is the main, is going to be the main guy, and everything runs through him. Being honest, I mean, I know you can have a team president above him, of course, but I prefer GM to be running the show, and then he hire the head coach, etc., and it all trickles down well. Because if you start at the top and get it right at the top, everything else will look after itself. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's kind of get the right GM in. That's the first port of call. Get him in next week when we're allowed to, or 2 weeks from now, whatever it is. Get him in straight away. Okay, and make sure it's the right dude. That's the other thing. You got to make sure it's the right guy. If you mess it up, then we're going to be set back another 4 or 5 years. So get it right. Let him interview as the head coaches as well. Don't let it be just Josh Harris likes this guy or Marty, because let's face it. I mean, I've heard Marty's been in the ear of Harris quite a lot at the moment as well. Kind of like becoming very like this. You know what I mean? So again, maybe he's going to be the president of that. You know what I mean? You don't know if he's going to be coming across and doing that side of things. I mean, hopefully he won't, but you never know. Do you know what I mean? And you go from there. That's how you got to do it. As you say, once the head coach is in place, then he's going to bring his boys, like you mentioned. He's going to bring in the coaches that he likes, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But also as well, I think if you had a really good coach on the staff, that you shouldn't just get rid of him just because you don't know him that well. Like for example, the McDonald. Was it McDonald? The guy. O'Connell. Sorry, O'Connell. Situation with Ron at the first year. I just think because he's obviously proven to be a good coach. So we should have kept people like that. Chris Harris as well, another one should have kept. Give him some sort of slight promotion, whatever it needed to be to keep him. Those type of things, and that's the thing that Ron's never done. He's always kind of let these guys go. And I want us with the new head coach to actually recognize, okay, this guy's actually pretty good. We're going to keep this guy and put him in this team, rather than get rid of these guys, just have all his own mates. You know what I mean? So I want a kind of a mixture of both, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be better, because that means that your coach is more open, if that makes it as well. As into changing up just his own little mini bubble of like him and his 5 guys or whatever it is. But yeah, for me, it's starting. It's got to start from the GM down. That's how it's got to go for me.
Do you think they send him out with flowers?
Ron
Rivera.
I think, yeah. I think they will. I really do think they will. He's gone through a lot. He has gone through a lot. I mean, he could. Don't get me wrong. I mean, everyone's going to rip him. He hasn't done, what we thought he was going to do, etc., etc. But as I mentioned before about his remit could have been just fight the fires, help the transition, simple as that. And now he's going to leave us with a number 2 pick. So I suppose that's a good thing, from that respect. So he might have done his job really well. We just don't know what his true remit was. We just expect us to win, and they weren't. And we weren't good enough to win. Simple as that. But anyway, so when he got cancer the first year, he could have just left. No, you could understand that. He could have just went, nah, I don't need this. I don't need the money. Because he doesn't need the money. He's been successful at Carolina. I'm sure he's looked after his money. He seems quite a smart guy. No, he's not going to be the guy who's going to piss it up against the wall. So he's got the money. He doesn't need the money to be, but he loves the job. He loves working in the NFL and being a head coach. And that's the reason why he kept pushing through. But really, he could have left us in the shit. He could have went, nah, you're all right. You know what I mean? I'm retiring, resigning, whatever you want to call it. So you got to give Ron Rivera, some kind of, some plaudits for that, just on its own. Never mind anything else that's going on, and all the other crap he's had to deal with from Dan and all the rest. So, for me, I think he should go out with some flowers rather than, you just fired and we don't see you again. You know what I mean? I think we should give him some sort of kind of, appreciation type of thing. I really do. I mean, what do you think with that one?
Yeah, I think they will. And it's not about Ron. It's about Josh. I think it's more so about Josh.
Good owner type thing.
Yeah. I think him trying to establish himself in this league and what type of owner he's going to be. I think sending out Ron with Flower, it don't have to be a press conference. It could be, it maybe it probably will, to be honest. But send them out with flowers. Thank you, this, and that. Mutual agreement. You're gonna get your money, of course. Blah blah blah. Like all whatever the good stuff that they're going to say. I think that hold a lot of water for his. Like who is he? What type of? We know what type of NBA, NHL owner he is, but we need to know what type of NFL owner he's going to be. And this is like, it's not the first step. He's done some things, in the beginning, but this is as far as firing a coach and making a decision on a coach. Like this is where it really starts. Where people look at you and say, "How are you going to do this?" Like I don't think he's going to fire him Sunday night. I don't think we're going to wake up Monday morning. He's fired 6:00 in the morning. I think it's going to be, something, sending him out with sending him out with flowers and meeting with the team and different stuff like that. So that's where I think they're going to go.
I think if you, it's exactly. It's all about kind of. I suppose from Josh's angle, it's going to be about look how good a owner I am. Exactly what we're trying to say. You know what I mean? I do it professionally, I do it responsibly, type of thing. So and that will also entice the new possible, head coach and GM and all the rest of it. Oh yeah, this guy's a nice guy to work for, or the right guy to work for. No, he's got integrity, those type of things. So I can definitely see it. I can definitely see it from that angle too. I just look at it from Ron Rivera's kind of tenure, really. I mean, has it been great? No, it hasn't been great, but I just believe his remit was different than what we thought it was. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. All right, I guess we can talk about the game. I mean, it's pregame, right? I think that yeah, we're sitting a lot of vets. Of course, I think Terry's going to play. I think they're going to force feed him the ball, which they should have been doing all year. But I think they're going to force feed him the ball. EB even talked about it at his press on Thursday to try to get him to 55 yards to go over 1,000 yards. I think, and they already said a lot of players is already out, done. We got, I don't know who's going to be in the secondary. Yeah, it's going to look like that. Forbes is going to have a long day, and I think he can really bring some positivity to his off season. If he can get a pick or a pick six or something, or have a good game against CD Lamb and those. So if he can do something to give some positivity to the fan base, mostly, for this offseason, I think that'd be great to do. But Dallas in a situation where it's both of the divisional games this weekend. You got Dallas and us, and you got the Eagles and the Giants both playing at 4:25. Playoff implications. That's why they're playing at the same time. Dallas wins, they NFC East champions. If Dallas loses, Philly wins, Philly is NFC East champions. So they're going to play. They're going to play to win, trying to get that position in the playoffs. But they're playing against preseason players in that sense, right? Where these guys are trying to establish themselves. These guys are trying to have NFL career. These guys have been fighting to be on rosters this upcoming year. So they're going to be going all out. They're going to be playing like it's the Super Bowl. The same reason why you don't play starters in the third preseason game is because these guys might not even be NFL players or play another NFL game. So they're going to give everything that they got. They family have been waiting for the moment for them to play and watch them. And they have told everybody, I'm playing a lot. Watch me. And they're going to try to put on a show. And that's the thing that Dallas is kind of, not the point about winning. I'm just talking about these guys playing super hard, where Dallas is kind of, they want to win, but they also want to be healthy. And this is the type of game that they have to really take into consideration of who they're playing. But how do you, like, situations like this, you think it matters? I mean, these guys is not great NFL players. That's why they 6'7" from the depth chart. But this is a once in a lifetime opportunity that a lot of players don't get.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I think yeah, you will see us try and we'll play hard, but the thing is, I just think, as you say, the talent level is just not going to be at the level good enough to do any damage against Dallas. Let's face it. If Dallas, it is a banana skin game. It really is. They could, step on this banana skin and slip up a little bit, but being honest, they know what's at stake. They're going to be 100% focused. They're playing all their starters. We're playing third, fourth stringers. I mean, our first team isn't as good as Dallas's first team, even if everyone was healthy. Yeah, we'll see some guys flying around trying to do some bits and pieces, but at the end of the day, these guys just aren't going to be good enough to man via man to actually cause Dallas any issues. It might even be tight for the first kind of quarter and a half, and then we'll get blown out like in the second half, like we did last time against them. I think that's how it's going to go. But yeah, it's great. It's a great opportunity for these guys. Say the guys that we don't really know too much about, how good they are, how bad they are. Oh, and obviously good film on tape for other people, for other teams if they do end up being over there. It's always a good thing to see, especially when we've got nothing to play for. Although, didn't Ron say in his presser though? Oh, is that right? I'm going to end up being less than 500 as a coach or something in his career if he loses. So I think.
So now it means something. Now the
Yeah,
game
now
means
something
something.
to him now. You know what I mean? So thinking, okay, maybe you might try a little bit better, a little bit harder. I don't know, but
Like flea flicker or something.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man. Yeah. I don't know, but I mean, yeah. I am not looking forward to this game. Put it that way, man. I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm
not
sick
at
and tired
all.
of seeing Philly and Dallas and everybody else better than us every year. I'm sick and tired of it, to be fair.
Yeah.
And we're going to see another beatdown because it is going to be
Yeah.
a beatdown.
Yeah. I got a 38-14.
Well, I was messing about on when I were bleeding burgundy when you were on there, and I said 50-0.
Yeah, I saw that.
uh, to be fair, I don't think we're going to be far off from that. I think it was something like 47-7, something like that. I think we're going to get
Yeah.
absolutely smoked. I really do.
We may get some garbage points in the fourth quarter, once they
Yeah,
bench
when
once
the
they
rest
bench
all in start on
guys.
defense. Yeah, you
Yeah.
mean that?
Yeah. I mean, we might get one early. It might be a bomb to Terry, it might be a long shot to him.
Yeah.
But
Thing is, I mean, Sam's deep ball hasn't been great this year either. I think
yeah.
that's even though it's something that was his main kind of characteristic, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Before,
yeah. I mean, and they dropped a few. He put one in the bucket last week to Terry and was it Jahan last week? No, Samuel. But he put one in the bucket to Terry last week, which some of the things that we was hoping to see more of. But we just haven't seen it. Yeah. So yeah, 38-14 is going to be well, at least the storm. We didn't get that storm. It kind of went further west. Um, but we did get a lot of rain yesterday, but it's supposed to be just cloudy today. So weather's not going to be a factor, so it's going to be full. It's going to be full go. So, yep.
It's,
Here we are.
here we are, man. Yeah, it's going to be a painful day. And that's the annoying thing, man. It's like, you can't when you're bad, you just can't wait for the season to end and you want to start again. But then you realize it's like, well, actually, got another 9 months here of nothing, of no more football. You know what I mean for our team, and it just kind of deflates you a bit. So what do you think about kind of? Well, I've got you on here, even though it's slightly off script. Now, you've had some chats on Twitter about kind of Penix.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know
Oh,
what your overall thought is on Penix.
yeah. So, outside of the injuries, that's the main thing, the main concern. But if it wasn't for those, he's probably QB 1, 2 on most people's boards. But again, it's this is the NFL. It's a one play league. So when you talk about injuries and past injuries and things like that, I mean you take into consideration, but I can't see teams faulting him for that. And I think that's the reason why he went back last year. I didn't want him to go back, but I understood is to be able to have those two, so far injury free seasons. And I think if he has the game like he had last week, like he's been having the last 2 years, like I don't see any difference to this game. But if he gives them, I don't know, 30 yards rushing, there's going to be a huge conversation. Especially going into he's going to kill the combine. Like I have no doubts. Like he's not going to run up 40, I don't think. But as far as passing and arm talent and all that, like he's going to kill it. It's going to be some kind. That's why I posted yesterday about I think he's Caleb Williams' biggest threat, right? Because of those other guys are exciting. They are good, but they don't create a lot of buzz. I mean, Jaden Daniels does, but people look at him like just, electrifying guy that can run around. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how they just look at him. But pure quarterback, high floor, his ceiling, you can doubt his ceiling because of his injuries, which is fair. But some scouts, some teams is going to take that into consideration. They will say, hey, look, I think his ceiling can do this, this, and that because he's been playing, this way these last 2 years. But with that, it's going to be hard to select him at number 2, right? If that's the way they want to go. But look, man, that's just our fan base, right? You got the Giants, you got
there's
these
plenty of
other
teams
teams, like they ready to get him. Like it don't matter because they know they need a QB1. But as far as his injury is concerned, that like it's kind of like I won't draft them at high in the first or in the first, but I'll get him at the top of the second. He's still going to be your QB1, right? You're still putting your franchise on his back. So I can't really understand the difference when people have that type of thought process about QB1, but that's where I am.
Yeah, I like Phoenix a lot. To be fair, I mean, he's got a lot of
I think most people do.
And I think he's got, he's got a laser of an arm. He really does. I mean, this technique looks a bit weird, but it's only because he's a lefty. You know what I mean? Like but he gets the ball exactly where it needs to be, and he can, he can dice you up. You know what I mean? You give him enough time, he'll dice you up. So, I don't think anyone's questioning the talent of the guy. He's definitely talented, and but yeah, man. But those injuries, man. I mean, that's the thing. I know you say it's only one play league, and it could happen to anybody, and you could blow you and end your career in one play. I get it. Look at Alex Smith, for example, and all those type of things, those horrible injuries that can happen. 100%. A lot of times, though, nowadays when you think about an ACL, it's like, oh, ACL, be back in 6 months, 9 months, and you'll be all right again. You know what I mean? That's the thing. You see, it's the level of injury. And that's the problem because he's had 2 in the same knee. So if he gets the 3rd one in that knee, I mean that could be a career end. I mean, look at RG3 for example as well.
Yeah, but I mean, like, and I get like a lot of people use that RG3.
It's so easy to blow an ACL in the NFL. It's so easy to blow an ACL. I mean, how many ACLs do you see a year? There's so many. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's usually
non-contact injury, usually.
But I think, let's put a pin right there. I do want to come back to that because I do have a question specific for you about that. But the whole RG3 thing, like I tell people, like, nah, man, like if he was injury free his whole career, and that game with the weather conditions, his leg flying up in the air, dangling, and then you got this 300-pound Muhammad Aloinada, you know what I'm talking about. Coming down and smashing his leg, like that's an ACL. Like I don't care. ACLs could have been fresh as they were, like the freshest of freshest. That right there is an ACL. Like that's still going to happen. But at the same time, I do understand the point about injuries and re-injuring and different things like that. But I do want to ask you a question. Like I know I've read somewhere or heard or watched or something about how like it can get stronger after you tear it the first time. Somebody was saying like depends where you take the tendon from or the vein or whatever. I don't know the proper stuff.
Yeah, I mean, usually there's two grafts that they can do. You see with an ACL. So One of them is your patella tendon. On the other knee, you can take some of that out, which is obviously a strong tendon, or part of one of your hamstrings. The hamstrings, there's three muscles in the hamstrings, and we all got big thick tendons. Normally they go hamstring graft first. That's the first when you first blow your ACL. That's what they tend to go with first. If you blow a second one, they do tend to use your patella tendon on the good knee. You take so now your other knee's compromised. See what I mean? A little bit, and then you kind of go from there. A third one, I've not seen many guys come back from a third ACL. I think Thomas Davis might have been one, maybe the linebacker Thomas Davis.
Yeah, he wasn't the same though.
He wasn't the same exactly. He was not the same player,
and he was older too.
Yeah, exactly. So these things don't help. Getting stronger with the tendon as such. I mean, would it be stronger? Technically, you could say yes and no because the tendon itself is going to be solid. They're not going to take a piece of weak tendon. They're going to take a decent, solid piece. But it's about the attachments. So obviously, when they redo an ACL, they actually got to attach it back to the femur and the kind of the tibial plateau on the top of the bottom part of the knee joint. Now, the problem is like they attach that normally via like kind of some sort of screw or some sort of mesh kind of concept type thing, like metal work basically to be able to do that. So you think, well, if you've got some metal work in there, you normally think it's stronger than ever. Some people it does. Some people it just easily re-injures. You know what I mean? So everyone's different with that. That's the problem. See how your body's healed and how well you've rehabbed it and everything else that goes along with it and your body type and everything else. There's so many different variables that makes it better. Or yes, it's as good as new. It's better than it was before compared to it's serviceable. It's okay, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be as strong as it was beforehand. And especially if they're done twice.
Yeah,
that's the problem I've got. One, I'm not too concerned about. People have ACLs all the time come back. The second one in the same knee, that's a problem because that's where I say because they've had to redo it all again. Do you know what I mean? They've had to redo and replace the metalwork again, different places, etc. And okay, great. It's held up 2 years, so that's always a good sign to see. So.
Is there any way can it get? And it's just not for paintings. I'm just really
just in general. Yeah.
Can it? Does it get stronger, or is just what it is after rehab and stuff?
It just. I mean, I think it is what it is.
I mean, if you got metal can't it's just gonna.
It doesn't normally move. No, it doesn't normally move, but it can be. Depending on what kind of force is going through. And don't forget your knee. Your knee has a major force is going through your knee. It's. For example, when you go and you're running down the stairs or anything like that, down a hill, like on an angle like that, it's times 7 your body weight going through your knee. Times 7 your body weight. So if you're very slim, there's still a lot of weight going through your knee. So you got to make sure that knee is rock solid. And don't get me wrong, these guys do. They put the work in. They do all the plyometric work, all the work that you need to do to kind of get this ACL strong. Because with tendons, yes, you put weight through them, you use it. It does get stronger because it gets like anything. You use your muscles, they get stronger, don't they, over time? It's the same thing with a tendon. It just takes a lot longer because there's not great blood supply and it's obviously different tissue compared to muscle. But in general, yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's always a catch-22. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing, especially when you had the second one. I always get a bit more. I'm more worried about. Someone's had a second ACL. And I have a third one. I don't know if he'd come back and be any good if it happens again, But again, as you said before, any player, any time, someone could break the leg and they're done, or break the arm and they're done, and that's the end of them for their whole career. So it's got to be a consideration. But how much would it make him drop in the draft, for example? Probably not by a lot, because you're going to go off his talent and how well he's been the last couple of years, as in fitness wise. So. And he's been fine. So, yeah, but it's you've always got to kind of it's always going in the back of your mind. And obviously the thing is with the confidence thing as well with players. Confidence is fragile in players in any sport of man NFL. You get injured, a bad injury, you're always a bit tentative when you come back. That's why when you see a guy who does his ACL, the first season back, he's never as good, is he? You ever noticed that? And then after that, the second season after that big injury, look back to the old selves. Look at Logan Thomas, for example, and other guys that we could talk about from the Washington side. And that's what happens because it takes a long time to gain your confidence to be able to trust the knee being hit hard with these big 300-pounders hitting you, with twisting your knee and all the rest of it. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to kind of push through that, and it takes a long time to become more natural to it again, as in a subconscious that my knee is solid, it is good enough to handle the rigors of the NFL or whatever sport you play. So those things do take time. They do. And obviously with Penix as well, it's 2 years. He's going to be feeling his knees pretty good. Do you know what I mean? His confidence is going to be up there, and that's why he's playing such great ball the last couple of years. So, but yeah, man, it's the psyche of players or athletes is kind of it's interesting, man. It really is.
Yeah, I think that's bigger than anything. Like you said, the psyche of players, also, which is something
massive, man. It's massive.
Yep. All right. I think that's it. This is like our last pregame show, but of course, throughout the all season, we're gonna have a couple maybe. Of course, Andy will definitely come on. It's not gonna be the last we see of him. And again, like we got this week coming up, we're definitely gonna have a show. We just don't know which day yet, but the brand itself, Redzone In the Lab, is going to be airing every day live this week to go over the season. Have a lot of fans from different, not different. I want to say different teams, but we're going to have fans of our team kind of discuss this last season and what they want to look for. Most disappointing and give some grades and all that other stuff up. So, looking forward to it. Andy, any last comments that you have, buddy?
No, man, it's been a pleasure this year, mate. I know it hasn't been regular and like clockwork like other shows we've done, but hopefully I'll get me better next season. But yeah, man, it's been good fun chatting to you, man, and getting to know you more.
Yep, most definitely. So again, we appreciate all of you out there. Like Andy said, we're going to get better. We're going to do this again next year. As far as of right now, we want to still come early. Set that alarm clock. We want to get up. We're going to come in here. We're going to talk ball, and looking forward to it. But again, I thank all of you for joining us this year and supporting us. We really, really appreciate it. Your time is very valuable. And for you to spend it with us, especially this early in the morning, we definitely appreciate it. But remember, do it because you love it, not because it loves you. One beat, one sound, one heart, one love.